if you thought things were potentially off with the Suns, if you've been looking at them this season being like, man, something's up behind closed doors. I know Wolf, who is not here today, Mitch Vareldzis is in for Wolf. I know Wolf has been saying that for a while. Like, something just seems off. I want to know what it is.
Spoiler alert. Something is off.
Well, if you feel that way, at least know that at minimum, one member of the Suns feels the same way, okay? Mm-hmm. So this is Jusuf Nurkić. Dwayne Rankin, AZ Central, Dwayne Rankin spoke to him. This is before Saturday's game. And Nurk said, quote, this is about Coach Bud, quote, "We don't have a relationship, so it's fine. For me, just be a pro and do the best I can, work and stay ready for whatever might be, but there's no chaos or bringing that to this team. They already have plenty of it. Trying to be as professional as I can and work my bleep off for something else," unquote. So he sounds happy.
I love the casual drive-by. This team has plenty of chaos thrown in there as well. But good on Nurk for at least being professional about the matter. But this him being sidelined, it almost felt inevitable the way things have been going this season. Did it not?
Yes, it did. That kind of seemed like, look, we're all human, but that seemed like kind of a passive-aggressive adding to the chaos right there.
Very.
What stood out to you most from that quote? Because they already have plenty of it stands out to me more than anything.
I think that does stand out to me the most as well, only because, man, I can't wait to figure out what the heck else is wrong with the Suns. And now they're about to add known pest Jimmy Butler and known agitator Jimmy Butler to this mess, or they're really trying to anyway. If you thought that everything was all hunky-dory with the Suns and you're still optimistic that this is a team that's going to go out there and contend and win the title this year, I don't know what else to tell you anymore, is kind of my main takeaway. You've got players on the team that are insinuating there is existing chaos within the closed doors that we do not see behind.
Yeah.
What more evidence do you need that this is not a team in a good spot right now?
Yeah. No,
generally speaking.
It's I wasn't holding out hope that everything was going good behind the scenes, because I think anybody that's followed sports could tell something is off with this team. I mean, they basically, yes, they're 8-3 in their last 11, but they seem to kind of just be winning because they have Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, like just winning on talent alone on some of these nights.
Which sometimes that works.
Yeah, we'll see how it works now against the schedule they have coming up. But for me, I was holding out hope, and I don't even think it's Nurk. I like Nurk. Every time we've ever talked to him, like he's a great dude to talk to. Like I root for the guy, but I was holding out hope that was the chaos behind the scenes. Again, not because of anything against Nurk, but just because we all kind of knew that relationship seemed to be frayed. So I was sort of hoping that was it. He just made it sound like that's not it.
Do we want to go down a rabbit hole and pretend and insinuate what else could be chaotic behind the scenes? Or is the other chaos that's happening behind the scenes obviously related to the lineup change and the other individual who had their lineup change? Or their lineup adjusted as a result.
I don't. Do you think that's definitely it?
I think he's being a team player, but at the same time, at the exact same time those reports came out, it came with like the locker room strife or the locker room not necessarily being in a good place commentary as well, frustrations with one another. Like, it was no coincidence that all those things happened at the same time. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
There's definitely more going on here, and there are some individuals in there that are just probably looking the other way, and they're wondering, man, what have I gotten myself into with this? I thought this was supposed to be we're just going to go out there and blitz everybody. And 2 years ago, Devin Booker's talking about, I don't know how people are going to guard us. And, well, you're a middle-of-the-road team, so clearly teams have figured out how to guard you guys.
They figured out how to guard everybody else on the team, at least, other than him and KD. It's a slippery slope to go down to try and speculate on what the other chaos is, but I just... Like, you look up and down the lineup, Mitch, and I'm like, okay, I don't think guys like Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro are part of the chaos. They're rookies. They're just trying to figure out where they are. And I'm looking through, like, I don't know. I don't think Tyus Jones. I mean, I guess he could be somebody that's looking around saying, man, this isn't what I signed up for. I probably took less to come here. I didn't sign up for this. Mm-hmm. I find it hard to believe Devin Booker is part of the problem. I really, like, that would feel like the ultimate betrayal of Book. I just don't think Book's part of the problem. And I really don't think KD is either. I know there are definitely people that believe he is. So I don't know. Maybe it's as simple. What Nurk is saying is the fact that there's constantly trade rumors around the team, that there's reports out there that they move Beal to the bench to try to force him out. I mean, that stuff is chaos. That's not really coming from a player necessarily. That's just chaos.
Yeah, maybe he's not doing it as a drive-by, to your point. Maybe he's just pointing out the obvious, which is our team name is in the news a lot. We've got one individual whose name is in the news a lot. It's pretty hectic around here, trying to focus, go in, day out, do our job. And we turn a corner, and next thing you know, somebody's talking about some sort of trade request and trying to bring somebody in. And look at what color Jimmy Butler's shoes are. Look at the initials on this weird thing that he's got on his table on his Instagram.
That was weird.
It's never ending with this thing.
I'll be
start
honest, putting secret messages to you by setting up these papers on this table throughout the show, okay? Just subliminal messaging.
I think maybe the one thing I missed the most about the 64-win Suns, the Suns that went all the way to the NBA Finals, it felt like there was nothing bad happening.
They were such a likable team.
Then the Mavericks loss happened, and there was Ayton is yelling at Monty, and then Monty's losing favor with Ayton. They don't bring JaVale McGee back because apparently there's reported frustration between those two. Jay Crowder's sidelined for mysterious reasons, and then everything from there has just been an absolute mess, and I hate it.
Yeah. It's funny you say that because I remember doing the show with Wolf back then, that 64-win team, and the ending of that season was maybe the most brutal I can remember with the Suns to lose Game 7. I'll never forget walking out of that arena just dazed, wandering around downtown Phoenix. Like, look, you can lose. How are you done in the first quarter? But I remember throughout that season, Mitch saying word for word, I'm quoting myself now, but how I was hoping they'd never break that team up because they were just so likable. And they seemed like they were a legit title contender. Now, I understand that when you lose that way, and then, I mean, they immediately started to get broken up, and there was clearly a rift, and you had Jay Crowder just sitting for a month and a half, it felt like. But I remember during that regular season being like, man, this team is so likable, and they seem like they get along so well. And this team this year just kind of seems like some guys that are thrown together. I mean, to your point, the guy that gets talked about the most with the Phoenix Suns isn't even on the Phoenix Suns. It's Jimmy Butler. He's not even on the Suns. So that's a pretty bad sign.
It just is the instant gratification world that we live in. And look, in fairness, you and I are a part of this instant gratification world that we live in because our daily job is to talk about possibilities of instant gratification when it comes to this team.
I don't know what you're talking about. Coming up next, what Jimmy Butler put on his desk.
But it is frustrating when the team can't be talked about in terms of the successes they're having. But the problem is they're not having the types of successes that warrant being talked about right now. That's why you're getting talked about in discussions for acquiring Jimmy Butler. And I'm still worried about Jimmy Butler just coming in, wanting the paycheck, and then, going back to being Jimmy Butler, which what he is right now is not the Jimmy Butler I want on my team. And I don't know why the Suns want him either.
No, and I don't know why you would think what he is right now is what this team needs, because just the way he's handling things is the exact opposite of what this team needs.
So let's get that in the locker room. Let's get more chaos.
Let's give up Ryan Dunn to get that in the locker room. Like,
he'll be the one to call dudes out in the locker room, and then we'll see how things really, really turn.
That'll go real well.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.